Okay, come on in, shut the door, and grab a seat. Seriously, congratulations on the promotion. You've got the fancy new title, the new department, and the shiny new budget. Right now, you're probably feeling pretty good, you know? Maybe a little starry-eyed about all the amazing things you're going to do for your team, but I need you to listen to me carefully. Because what I'm about to share in this explainer is a tough love lesson on corporate survival. We are going to dig into a 500-year-old playbook written by Niccolo Machiavelli, specifically his brutal, brilliant truths from The Prince. We're going to see exactly why the instincts you're feeling right this very minute might actually get you fired.
Okay, let's dive into this. Will a free snack bar save your job? Look, I know it sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but there is this massive modern corporate obsession with trying to buy team loyalty through flashy perks. You know the drill. Catered lunches, ping pong tables, endless piles of company swag. As a new manager, your very first instinct is to win the room. You want them to love you, so you kind of want to open up the checkbook. But we absolutely have to confront this instinct head-on because it is a total trap.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, the lore of generosity.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it captures the ultimate rookie mistake. You want to be the cool boss, right? You want to take that department budget and blow it on launch parties or off-site retreats to prove how awesome it is to work for you. Machiavelli actually tackles this exact concept in Chapter 16. He calls it being liberal or generous, and he notes that being generous is incredibly dangerous for a leader who wants to actually keep their job. You end up with a breakdown that looks like a literal disaster. 45% of your cash going to flashy launch parties, another 45% flowing straight into the kombucha kegs, and a measly, pathetic 10% kept as an actual strategic reserve. Machiavelli warns that to keep up this generous reputation, you've got to keep spending lavishly. You can't just throw one party, you have to throw an even bigger one next quarter. And doing that rapidly drains your vital resources, leaving you completely exposed.
Because here is the inescapable cycle Machiavelli warns us about. Liberality exercised in a way that does not bring you the reputation for it injures you. Think about what happens when that budget runs dry. To keep up the generous facade, or honestly, just to keep the lights on, you eventually have to overtax your people. In corporate terms, that means you have to overwork them. You freeze their bonuses, you double their hours, you deny their vacation requests. By trying to be the generous, cool boss up front, you end up making yourself completely hated, or as Machiavelli perfectly puts it, odious to your team.
Which brings us to Section 2, Machiavelli's hard truth. Let's slow down and really process this.
If being the generous boss is a trap, what on earth is the alternative? Well, it's a 500-year-old hard truth. It is far wiser to be considered mean. Now, in his day, mean meant stingy. Today, we'd call it being a cheapskate. The liberal leader? Sure, they're loved today because the drinks are free, but they're hated tomorrow due to the burnout required to pay for it all. On the flip side, we have the mean leader. Look, you might be resented today when you say no to the fancy espresso machine, but you will be deeply respected tomorrow for the economic stability you provide. A frugal leader never has to squeeze their team during hard times, simply because they didn't squander the budget during the good times.
Let's break down the actual, tangible benefits of this frugality. First off, your revenues remain sufficient. You actually have cash on hand. Second, you can defend against all attacks. Whether that's a sudden market downturn or a rival company trying to aggressively poach your clients, you're ready. Third, you can fund great enterprises. When a real, game-changing strategic opportunity arises, you actually have the capital to strike. And fourth, this is absolutely crucial, you never burden the people. True respect from your team is earned when you can navigate the company through a storm without forcing everyone to take pay cuts or work 80-hour weeks.
All right, moving on to Section 3, building the war chest.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look back at Chapter 6, where Machiavelli talks about strategies for entirely new principalities. As a newly promoted manager, you are ruling a new principality. Your foundation isn't fully set yet. Foundational frugality is exactly what builds a new leader's long-term stability. You cannot rely on the fleeting goodwill of the crowd. You must rely on your own strength. He writes, "All armed prophets have conquered, and the unarmed ones have been destroyed." And this brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic. In Machiavelli's time, he meant literal armies. But in our modern corporate context, your saved capital, your healthy cash reserves, those are your arms. A modern manager fortified by healthy cash reserves is an armed prophet. The unarmed prophet? That's the guy who bought everyone matching fleece vests but has literally zero budget left when the servers crash.
So your primary goal from day one is to build the war chest. We're talking about cash reserves built through strict frugality, which are absolutely essential for surviving market downturns or competitor attacks. Surviving those treacherous, unpredictable early days of a new management role requires financial independence. You have to insulate yourself and your team, and the only shield you have is the capital you refuse to waste on superfluous nonsense.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, the burn rate reality.
This is where Machiavelli's theories applied directly to modern corporate warfare and the burn rate reality check. When a crisis actually hits, the liberal leader is forced into a budget recovery sprint. Because they blew the budget trying to look generous, they have zero capital left and must demand maximum team burnout to survive. Late nights, working through the weekend, just immense stress. But the mean leader? They use strategic reserve deployment. A crisis hits, and they calmly deploy the war chest with zero team burnout. You see, modern corporate spending habits often prioritize flashy visibility, but true leadership demands quiet, boring discipline.
And I want to make this as clear as humanly possible. 0. That is the exact number of cool office perks that actually matter when a market crash hits and the company faces bankruptcy. A free snack bar is not going to save your job if the whole company goes bust. Every ounce of goodwill you bought with those perks evaporates the exact second you have to lay people off.
Okay, let's bring it home with Section 5, the mogul's checklist. So how do we actually execute this? As someone who's been around the block, I need you to internalize this financial discipline. It's not enough to just nod your head and say frugality is good. You need a system. Whenever an expense comes across your desk, walk through this step-by-step checklist. Number 1, is this expense a core survival need? Like, does it directly contribute to our output? Number 2, will cutting this help build the war chest? Because every dollar saved is a literal dollar of armor for the future. And number 3, does this purchase prevent burdening the team later? If you're buying software that saves your team 20 hours a week, great, that's a strategic spend. But if you're buying a frozen yogurt machine, yeah, you're failing the test.
Now, I should mention a nuance here. Machiavelli wasn't a one-dimensional thinker, and you shouldn't be either. He offers this really interesting caveat. Squandering your own wealth injures you. Squandering the wealth of others adds to your reputation. What does that mean for us? Actually, it means you are absolutely ruthless with your own internal budget. But if you secure external wins, say you capture a competitor's market share or land a massive external client bonus, feel free to distribute those spoils generously. You can be liberal with external victories, but you must remain an absolute miser with your core operational budget.
So here is your playful but completely serious pro tip to carry with you. Be a miser in the break room so you can be a mogul in the boardroom. Let them complain about the generic coffee. Let them roll their eyes that you didn't hire a DJ for the quarterly review. Because when the economic winter comes, and believe me, it always comes, you will be the one sitting in the boardroom with a fully funded team, executing a strategic offensive, while everyone else is just scrambling to survive. I'm going to leave you with this final thought as you step out of this office and into your new role. Look in the mirror and ask yourself honestly, will you buy their love today or secure their jobs tomorrow? The choice is entirely yours, but only one of those paths actually leads to survival. Take this explainer to heart, study these principles, and start building your war chest right now. Good luck out there.